Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. I am the host, the tour guide. At any point in time you're consuming this, I can only hope you're doing well. It is November 21st, 2022, and I apologize if I waste your time. But so today we're going to be discussing this book that I got recently called Protecting the Gift. It's written by Gavin DeBecker. He is the author of another wonderful book called The Gift of Fear. So for my podcast listeners, um, definitely I will try to link a picture of it in the description. It's called Protecting the Gift, Keeping Children and Teenagers Safe and Parents Sane. So I'm really happy that I came across this book recently. The story is, the original book, The Gift of Fear, it's talking about everyone's natural ability, your intuition that alerts you to danger or violence or something that's going to happen. It's a primitive mechanism that we're all ingrained to possess, and as we grow and develop in a nation full of information and logic and facts and, you know, stuff they just tell you, we have kind of tuned out our intuition and have relied more on judgment and dismissing the feelings, that gut feeling, that sinking feeling, that feeling of dread, that something doesn't feel right, something doesn't set with my spirit, all of those red flags and cautionary things going off in our body. It is a natural primitive response that we over the years have somehow tuned out. So his theory is in the book, The Gift of Fear, is that we can predict when something's going to happen. We have a sense, we know when there's something that's not right, when there's something wrong with a person or circumstances aren't right. So I unfortunately never completed reading that book. It was several years ago. He has appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show, and pretty much, let me give you a little bit of a background about him so you can understand. So I'm going to read to you the back flap so you can understand this gentleman's expertise and what he's been known for. This best-selling author Gavin De Becker is America's leading expert on predicting violent behavior, advising such clients as the CIA, the United States Supreme Court. This three-time presidential appointee has changed the way the United States government protects its highest officials. He is the co-chair of the Domestic Violence Council Advisory Board and co-founder of One Victory Over Violence, an organization that assists battered women and their children. And he's been extremely influential. There's people who have written in stories, and he's used some of their examples, personal accounts of reading his book, picking up on signs, studying people, observing their own internal feelings, and being able to know when there's someone that's off, warn other people, and have their findings confirmed through actual life events. So just got through almost the first half of this book, and I couldn't wait to share it with you guys. So oftentimes for our well-balanced Mondays discussions, I try to find things that are helpful for psychological and for physical well-being. So I've been talking a lot about anxiety, anger, coping from past trauma, and how you get through healing, getting over addiction. We've been through books such as The Body Keeps the Score, and helping people realize how trauma affects the body and manifests itself physically. So this book, definitely divine will, God's providence that I came across it, because we've talked a lot about anxiety, and as a parent, that was one of my issues, was trying to keep my children safe and protect them from harm and danger. And some of the things that I had picked up over the years, I was not aware that I was dismissing my intuition. And some of the things that I was teaching my children and coaching them on going out in public places, it's very comforting that he reaffirms some of the examples that I would always work with my children. So just for one example, the concept of don't talk to strangers. We tell our children don't talk to strangers. Well, actually, the thing is though, we as parents talk to strangers all the time, and our children are getting mixed messages, so they end up ignoring that, or they don't understand the circumstances. It's not that we need to be wary of strangers, we need to be wary of strange things. They need to know how to learn how to discern and determine who's safe to talk to. And we can't just assume, oh, my kids know, don't talk to strangers. They've done experiments where, they've got mothers at the park with their children. They ask, the experimenters, do you think that your child would walk up with a stranger? And they would say, oh, no, my child would never do that. Within 30 seconds, they were able to convince a child to take off with them with a stranger, because they know, you can tell them and they can recite it back to you, don't talk to strangers, but really it needs to be a different type of conversation, and needs just different skills and tactics that he teaches you, and also different age appropriate, and understanding that predators, they look for vulnerability, they look for people who are paying attention, proximity, they need to have an escape route, all these things. So just because you're not sitting on the sidelines thinking, oh, my kids know not to talk to strangers, that's not gonna, that's not sufficient. And we need to be a lot more in tune with our intuition, our children's capabilities, and understanding more of the mind of a predator, and how they are able to lure kids into a conversation and get them to walk away within 30 seconds of the conversation engaging. So there's examples though where he shares, it's better that kids learn how to talk to people, and if the kids are well informed and educated and they're essentially well trained in conversing, it's actually a deterrent, because if they know what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, if they know that you're going to be looking for them and you're going to be talking to them, and they know what signs to look out for, they're not going to be an easy target. People say, they tell you, oh, don't tell. I'll encourage your children to tell. And they say to be quiet, encourage your children to yell. Like, there's so many things in here. So I'm not going to give you any more advice or suggestions. It's something that you have to spend a lot more time dealing with, and investigating and studying. Especially each child's different. Their capacities and levels of development and understanding is different, and we cannot assume that a child's going to be able to, like every single 8-year-old's going to understand everything. It's very, very specific to you and your family. But so far, what I've read, it's been very, very encouraging, especially in this era. Nowadays, there's, unfortunately, people aren't given the opportunity to really practice social skills, and there's a lot of people who don't trust, and as adults we don't talk to strangers, and there's a lot of fear. And there's a difference between being fearful and worrisome, and then being having moments of fear. So if you're worrying all the time, he says that's actually more so a problem, because it keeps you distracted from actual potential danger. You need to be more vigilant, more aware of what's realistic and what your body is telling you. You won't be able to pick up on actual intuitive red flags if you're in a constant worry state of mind, or if you're in denial, or if you are constantly judging things, saying, oh, that wouldn't happen. There's so much that goes to it, but it's definitely a peace of mind knowing that once you have the information, once you're aware of your own ability to get in tune with your intuition, that you definitely are more relaxed and more calm. You can accept things as they come. So I'll be filling in some more information throughout the week, doing a little bit more of a summary of it. I just wanted to share with you that if you are looking for ways for preventative tactics to keep your family safe, yourself sane, if you're looking for more information on how to prepare your children as they transition, your teenagers, especially holidays are fast approaching, things happen at a rapid pace, lots of distractions, family sleepovers, that's one of those things happen. It says a lot of predators, about 90% of them are with people that your children know, someone that's close to the family, and that trust has already been established. Strangers do obviously abduct children. Strangers obviously do assault children. but the probability and chances are higher and greater that it's coming from someone a child knows, someone that you know, and that you've haven't been picking up on the signs, the intuition, the dismissal. You've been in denial, and when we force children to, oh, just go say hi, or oh, just go be nice, or just go give someone so a hug, like we can sometimes potentially be putting children in harm's way if we aren't paying attention to the red flags and accepting the reality that some of the people closest to you could potentially be the biggest predators. And we need to have the conversation with our children, like now, like constantly. If someone tells you don't tell, you need to tell. If someone's trying to kidnap you, you say don't yell. You need to yell. We need to learn how to have a conversation, be direct, teach the children they know that they are allowed, if they need to fight, to defend themselves, that they have permission to do that. So I'll be sharing some more throughout the week. But again, if there's anything right now at this point in our nation, in our country, in the world, that I would say, hey, get a copy of this. This is one of the books I would say get a copy of right now. Get a copy of The Gift of Fear by Gavin De Becker. And also this one right here, Protecting the Gift, Keeping Children and Teenagers Safe and Parents Sane. Definitely. So for that, I guess I will leave you. That's my little plug for the evening and encouragement. If you are a person who is a constant worrier, who's riddled by anxiety and fear and the end of the world is coming, someone like, I guess you could say, someone like me, put your mind at rest and get some more information and learn that your body does tell you something, and there are things that predators do that you can study their behavior and predict things happening based on their activities and their mannerisms, their nonverbal cues, questions and statements that they may say that might bring attention that there's a problem, red flags that go off. So highly encourage you to do more studying and research, get a copy of the book. So with that, I will leave you. I've been your host, the tour guide, and at any point in time you're consuming this, I can only hope you're doing well, and I apologize if I wasted your time, but thank you for tuning in, and as always, God's peace.